that's what I'm gonna be doing soon. Hey, what's up everybody? We're back, Walking and Talking, episode 39. We're here in High Rock Park, taking a peek at some trails, doing some exploring, and there's just two trees rubbing together. And we're out here because it's almost Memorial Day weekend, and people are gonna be hanging out, having fun with family and friends, and what better to do that over than some board games. So I'm a huge fan of board games, like many others are, not just limited to like your standard Risk and Monopoly. I've really tried to expand my horizons and enjoy some different board games, and I wanted to share some recommendations for you that you could find at your local Target or Walmart that you'd have fun with your family playing this weekend while you're barbecuing, maybe. I'm gonna give some recommendations that are more suited to indoors, some that are more some that are more appropriate for outdoors, because I don't know what the weather's gonna be like over this weekend where you are, so I figured I'd give you a little both. So let's start out with outdoor, because outdoor is beautiful, the weather here is gorgeous, and that's what I'm feeling like. So first and foremost, giant Jenga. I mean, obviously the name is pretty much explanatory of what it is. It's just a supersized version of the game Jenga, the stacking block game where you pull blocks out of a large, tall stack, put it on top. The person who tips the tower over is the loser. Giant Jenga is just a giant version of that same game that you've played probably with friends on your tabletop at home. It is just as fun, and making it bigger, I don't want to say it adds to the fun, but it adds to the anticipation of the tower falling over. Because when the tower falls over, it makes a big clunk. Because, I mean, it's effectively 2x4 stacked. Also, really quickly, sorry for the wind noise if it's here. Can't do anything about it. Hopefully this wind filter is doing enough to clear some of it out, but if it doesn't, my apologies. I do what I can. Next, Yahtzee. There's a couple of different names for it, but effectively what it is Yahtzee scaled up to a yard size. So the dice are about the size of a softball, about like 3 inches by 3 inches or 4 inches by 4 inches. There's a couple of different variants to it, but highly recommend. While I like the game Yahtzee, there are lots of other games that you can play with dice that are a lot of fun with a group, and throwing giant softball sized wooden dice around the yard is super fun. And I can't recommend this enough. Even though it sounds super simple, it is incredible. I think anybody who has a yard and has people over to hang out in said yard should get a game of giant dice, because it is awesome. Yahtzee, you can find like the score sheet online. You can print it out yourself, or you can find people who've made custom score sheets. I have one that's all like laminated that you use like an erasable marker on, and it's kind of a nice little way to keep score when outdoors, because that way if like somebody spills their drink on it or it starts to rain, you don't have to worry about your score sheet, and it's all safe and good to go. So next is one of my favorite outdoor games of all time, Cornhole. If you don't know what Cornhole is, you've probably seen one, at least in passing, because it seems like every bar or outdoor venue has at least a set, if not multiples. And what they are those two angle platforms with a hole up towards the top and a bunch of bean bags. You take the bean bags, you throw it, you try to make it land on the other platform or go through the hole on the other platform. Really simple, like all of these yard games are, but man, is it addictive. And if you're competitive, it's gonna be fucking on. Oops, my bad. I don't mean to curse as much anymore, but yeah. Cornhole's amazing. You can make it custom. It's pretty easy. You just have to cut a hole and then prop it up with some 2x3s on a board. Super easy, but it's, again, extremely fun and a great game to play with your family. because pretty much anybody who can throw a beanbag can play, which is about everybody. Okay, next we're gonna move indoors. I'm gonna give you 3 quick kind of indoor board game recommendations. First, if your family likes strategy, and I don't mean like your standard strategy, I mean if your family is like a Monopoly kind of family, you should try Settlers of Catan. Instead of dealing with money and property, you're dealing with resources and construction. It's one of the German style board games. It's very easy to pick up, super easy for new players, and I would highly recommend, if you've never played before, get a hold of a copy. I think you can play up to 5 players, I think. It may be more, it may be less, but I think it's 5. It's at least 4. But Settlers of Catan, there's a bunch of different variants. There's Game of Thrones, there's a couple others. Go to your local Target. They should have a good selection. And they'll also have expansion packs, I think, to play with more players. But Settlers of Catan, super fun, highly recommend. Go get yourself a copy and play this Memorial Day. That rhymes. Next on my list, Ticket to Ride. Also kind of a strategy game. This one's a little bit more straightforward. It would be like Risk to Monopoly, where it's a little bit less strategic in like the acquisition of resources and money and that kind of stuff. It's more focused around. Ticket to Ride is a great family game. It does require a bit of like skill and strategy, so I wouldn't recommend it for somebody who's under like 10. You can play it with somebody under 10, but I don't think they'll get much out of it. What's it called? There's different variants of it too, just like with Settlers of Catan, or Catan. I think they call it both now. There are different variants of it that follow like different properties. So there's Ticket to Ride, or sorry, different properties, different like regions. So there's like Ticket to Ride New York City, which deals with like the subway system. There's Ticket to Ride the original, which deals with the US, Ticket to Ride Europe, and I believe there's a Ticket to Ride Asia now, but I'm not 100% sure. So check your local retailer and you'll see a decent variety. Last game I'm going to recommend is more of a friends game than a family game, and it is Never Have I Ever. A lot of people have played Never Have I Ever, or the finger game as some people call it, where you basically say like, oh, never have I ever broken a bone, and anybody who's broken a bone would put a finger down, and the first person to put all their fingers down loses. In the case of the Never Have I Ever game, you basically get the card, and first person to 10 cards wins. Obviously, this game is, some of the topics that they cover are not the most family friendly. So if you don't feel like revealing a lot of your personal life and personal adventures to your family, probably not the right game for that. But if you're hanging out with friends this Memorial Day, highly recommend. It's a good game, super fun, and available at most retailers around the US. So that's all my recommendations for today for board games for you to play this weekend on Memorial Day. I appreciate you all for joining me. Thank you so much. I will probably see you on Tuesday. Peace. Bye.